Minister Dugan, Mayor McCallion, honored guests, LSO board members, and all the members of our great life sciences community, welcome. Thank you for joining us in this celebration. I also want to acknowledge we have a special guest here tonight from our counterparts in the province of Quebec. Frank Moreau is here representing Montreal and Vivo, one of the lead partners of Biopolis Quebec, who's our partner on the Ontario-Quebec Life Sciences Corridor. It was 1 year ago that I attended this event for the first time. At that time, I didn't know that I would be joining LSO in this capacity. But what I remember from that event was the feeling that I left with that evening, aside from the euphoria that usually accompanies overeating and drinking too much wine. I felt inspired. I was inspired by the passion, commitment, and the dedication and leadership that all the award winners that evening so clearly demonstrated. Let's face it, life sciences is a tough industry to succeed in. There's a lot easier ways that we can succeed in business. But often in life, the things that are most meaningful and the greatest rewards are gained from are not easy. I believe the life sciences sector, more than any other, has the potential to improve the lives of people everywhere. A belief that was clearly shared and evident in the remarks by all of last year's award winners. And that is why it is so important that we continue to support and grow the industry with innovative policies that both recognize the risks and the rewards of this industry. My sole metric of success with tonight's event is that you will leave here with that same feeling of inspiration and a renewed commitment to seeing our great sector continue to grow and prosper in the province of Ontario. It's now my pleasure to continue with the awards. I want to start by saying that when I joined LSO in the fall, I made it my first priority to develop a strategic plan. That plan was approved by the board in December, and I presented it at our January breakfast meeting, and it's available on our website to look at. As we all know, developing a strategic plan is really the easy part. The tough part is in implementation. And especially for an organization like Life Sciences, we're a lean, not-for-profit, we have limited resources. And so as I looked across the organization, what became very apparent to me was that the successes of TBI and now LSO are really built on the efforts of our volunteers. And our volunteers are a diverse group from across the life sciences industry, and they're members of our individual membership, our corporate members, and members from our board. And one of our board members in particular has distinguished himself through his volunteerism, and that's Dr. John Kelly. John has been an active member of the LSO board since 2007, when we were still TBI. He was a key contributor to the transition from TBI to LSO and continues to dedicate an enormous amount of his time to this organization. John's passion comes from his commitment to the agriculture and food sector, a vitally important and growing sector that is often overlooked in the context of life sciences. John has been a consistent and tireless champion of this sector, and for all of life sciences in Ontario. Around our boardroom, John is often the first to raise his hand to volunteer his time and his expertise when needed. Some of you may have attended our December 6th event on the Ontario-Quebec Life Sciences Corridor. John led that event as acting as the chair of the organizing committee, and he also hosted the event as MC. And he did all of this while nursing a broken leg, and that is true dedication. Please join me in congratulating the 2012 LSO Volunteer of the Year, Dr. John Kelly.
Well, when Sue Monroe asked me to come up here, she said, "You only have 2 or 3 minutes to speak." And I said, "Okay." I heard that it's for me to speak for 2 or 3 minutes. It's not a question of being able to speak for that long, it's being able to compress everything and not stay in one period of time. So, for me, and for those of you who know me, it's a difficult task. But I would still like to acknowledge the committee for the work done on behalf of the Gala, and particularly the committee that put everything together. This is a significant job. So when you look at volunteerism, and you look at the work, the results that you see from volunteers, you just have to look around and you'll see exactly what it is. I'd like to personally congratulate others who are being recognized tonight. You know, I feel very humble amongst this group. It's a very austere group, and we just have to think of the people who are here and say, wow. So I have some special acknowledgments that I'd like to give. One would be to Alan Audette, who's a former Peterborite, like myself, and I guess there's a few others that are here from Peterborough. And there's a shout out for you guys, George. I heard that earlier today. So thanks very much. I got the call from Alan when I was driving. I didn't go off the road, which is a good thing. I'd also like to acknowledge Grant Tippler, who is sitting over there. And Grant is the one who really got me involved with TBI and with Life Sciences Ontario in the first place. And he described it as, here's a great opportunity. It's full of a whole bunch of pharma companies, and I think you'd be a great addition to this group. And in fact, it has been a great addition. He's former chair of the board of directors of Life Sciences Ontario, and I acknowledge him for being involved with this. I'd also like to acknowledge all those who have worked with me on different committees, whether it's guys like Peter Vanderbilt and Mark Smithies and others who helped look after hiring Jason. I mean, that was a lot of work. People put a lot of hours into what we did. The fall event, that was not just me as Jason might you think. It was a full team, and really what I did was I just coordinated everybody, got everybody to come forward. So people like Peter Vanderbilt, again, he stepped forward last year and this year for these things. This is essential, really, for Life Sciences Ontario's success. If we're going to succeed as an organization, we have to have people step up. You know, we have an organization that crosses many disciplines, and from medical to pharma to ag and food to bioeconomy to environment to forestry. And when you think about the contributions of these parts to the economy, it's immense. We are the drivers of the economy. We have to know that. And each component of each component of this sector has its unique challenges. There's a lot of common ones as well. I just have to go back when I was in the animal pharma business, and we were looking at some of the regulatory issues that were coming forward, and then I went into the crop sciences business and didn't go into exactly the same challenges with exactly the same consultants. It was kind of a good deal for the consultants. So it works best because we need volunteers to make this organization flourish. We do this because we know it's in the best interest of the sector, or sectors. It's in the best interest for all of us to do this forward. That we be the voice of Life Sciences Ontario. All I have to do is look at this panel over here. That's what Life Sciences is all about. Life Sciences Ontario is about being the voice. We provide a voice for all sectors of government, to industry, and really for the general population. People need to understand the impact that we have. So I look at how volunteerism has impacted just this sector itself, and I look at people like Ken Knox and Cal Stiller and John Evans, and I put them down as the penultimate volunteers when they started Mars, because Mars started with those guys with an idea, but there was no financial remuneration for them to do it. They just knew it was the right thing to do. We have to recognize that to volunteer for these types of organizations, we have to understand that there's a commitment on the companies and the organizations that we work for. So I work for the Ontario Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association at Erie Innovation and Commercialization. I've got Art Smith here, who's the CEO of the OFBGA, and Shelley Lowe here with Erie Innovation and Commercialization. We work with groups in South Central Ontario, in the SCORE regions, so that's Trent, Oxford, Middlesex, Elgin, and Norfolk counties. And I encourage you all to come down there, by the way. But it's because of these organizations' commitment to their own innovation that I have a chance to work with Life Sciences Ontario to do these types of things. We've reached out from Life Sciences Ontario to South Central Ontario. So Lauren Meikle, who was the chair of the board here previously, and Peter Vandervelde and Grant Tippler came down to this region to represent Life Sciences Ontario and their organizations to talk about what the opportunities were for those people in these small urban and rural areas. This is really important for us to reach out and connect with them. And this was because of the connection to Life Sciences Ontario. Life Sciences Ontario is a provincial organization, and we have to remember that. It reaches out through volunteerism throughout the corners of the province. You just have to look at who's on the board of directors for Life Sciences Ontario. You've got Greg Penner from London. You've got Russell Williams from RxMD. You've got Bernard from the Sustainable Chemistry Alliance and Bioauto Council. And Bernard West and I have known each other for 20 years. And by pulling people in like that, it's a great opportunity. We volunteer because we know it's the right thing to do. It supports Life Sciences Ontario for sure, but it also allows us to share in the successes of others within Life Sciences Ontario. We heard about Greg and Arctic DX tonight, but there are others. I talked about Greg Penner. Greg Penner and Neo Ventures Biotechnology in London just signed a big deal with FOSS International. It's a world leader in grain analysis. Alan Odette, being named as President and CEO of the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. We get to celebrate all this. And for me, this is one of the really cool things that we get to do. I get to see other people's successes, and Life Sciences Ontario gets to play a little bit part of it. It allows us to develop relationships with people we would not otherwise develop relationships with. And I think this is very valuable indeed. I guess the last part I would do is, my family's here. You've seen my wife and my beautiful daughters at this table. You can't miss them because they're all really, really tall. They put up with me and the times that I'm away. So there's a commitment on their behalf to do it. So I think I encourage everybody here to volunteer with Life Sciences Ontario. I know that Jason would be quite happy to have you come in and sit on committees or even lead committees. You don't have to be on the board of directors to lead committees or to be part of committees. And the stronger and wider audience we have, the more strength we have in the organization. So thanks very much, and I appreciate it, and I feel very honored.
Congratulations, John. You join quite a list of past recipients of that award, and we appreciate